Illini Nation, welcome. It's the man in the middle, Deon Thomas, with the inaugural show for Champaign on Ice. And who else to have as a better representative of the University of the men's basketball team than the head coach himself, Coach Brad Underwood. Coach, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me today.
I'm excited to be on, Deon. I appreciate it.
Hey, I couldn't think of a better guest personally. And I know this has been a busy day for you with practice and, of course, the big announcement that was made. So, I appreciate it. How's things been going, Coach?
Yeah, it's knock on wood, it's been great. We've stayed COVID free. Today was a great day. We announced the signing of Luke Goody, a young man we've had targeted for some time into our program, and what a great fit he is. And we're 2 weeks away today of what will be the start of basketball season. We didn't know at one point if that was going to happen, but so it's a great. It's great. Our team is knock on wood, has stayed healthy and COVID free for the most part for a while, and now we continue to really do what we do, and that's focus on basketball.
Yeah, and COVID has definitely been a big story. We know there's been football games missed all around the country. Everyone was worried about if this basketball season was going to start, but as a guy sitting on the sidelines, well, I guess I won't be sitting on the sidelines this year. They're sticking us up in the stands from what I hear. Looking forward to getting back in basketball mode. Speaking of basketball mode, how was it to have Ayo and Kofi come back to the final lineup?
Yeah, boy, what a great night that was. I think it was. Selfishly, you're elated because you know how good of players they are and how good of people, and yet, for those young men to make the decision that they made showed some real maturity, and you're happy for them because it's a decision that they really have to wrestle with. There's a lot of outside factors, and yet both those guys believed in our program, believed in it was going to help them get where they needed to go ultimately. And, you're excited for them because, I think this is a great springboard for them in terms of their future endeavors at the next level.
We're talking a little bit about the future now, but Coach, I want to go back to the past. And the reason I'm going back to the past is everybody they think they know who Brad Underwood is. They think he's this guy out of Kansas that has done these things, that elevated himself through the ranks of coaching quickly. I would love to learn, and for our fans to know, a little bit about Brad Underwood. What brought Brad Underwood on the stage of basketball? Tell us a little bit about the career, how you got into coaching. Just fill us in a little bit.
Yeah, and I think my path. I grew up in a town of 12,000 people in McPherson, Kansas. And when you grow up there, you play every sport, and it's just the thing to do, and all your friends do it. And yet when I got to about 8th grade, to be honest, I was a good youth golfer and enjoyed playing, but basketball really hit me. I mean, the bug hit me, and I was one of those guys that played every day. I missed 14 days in 8 years of working out. And for me, I wasn't a gifted athlete. I had to work at it to become good. And so I did away with football, which I played a lot of football and was successful at as well, and gave it up and focused. And that you didn't do that in towns that size. You played every sport. And so basketball became a passion. I earned a scholarship, and it was to Hardin-Simmons University in Abilene, Texas, which was a small Division I school, and I was elated, and I loved it. And then all of a sudden, there's a coaching change, and I left and went to a junior college for a year, and had an incredible year. Played in the national championship game. It was an awesome time, an awesome experience. And that led me to being recruited by a lot of the high majors, and I stayed at home and went to Kansas State, and I was so competitive Deon, that it was a challenge for me to think about, okay, when I'm done, I'm done. And I can't go play basketball for fun. It was more than that for me. And I can't go to the church league or the YMCA and just play with a bunch of people who didn't play it like I played it. I played it to win. And so when that time came, and I pretty much held true to that from the playing standpoint, but I was going to go get into the business world and make it, and all of this, and I did that, and I mean, it was like a drug withdrawal. Not having basketball, not having the juices, not having the competitiveness, not having that to channel every day. And I decided, well, I'm getting back in basketball. I'm going to coach. And when I got done playing, I had no desire to coach. And I was away 6 months, and all of a sudden, it's all I could think about was basketball. And I actually went back to Hardin Simmons as a graduate assistant, and was there 1 year. We had a great year, and and then it was the coach that was there was 45 years old, and long story for a different time, but retired and moved to Florida, got out of coaching. And so here I am a year into it. I'm like, I don't have a job. What do I do now? And, I went to the junior college route, spent 5 years I was 1 year as an assistant at Dodge City Community College, and then became the head coach. And, from there, it's learning the game and learning the profession and learning the business and understanding how to do it. And it just became, I don't want to say quite an obsession, but more a passion. And, I still wasn't sure in some of those early years if it was the right thing, but then the passion, and then it took over, and I haven't looked back since. But I've taken a much different path than most. It took me 26 years to become a head Division I coach. But I say that with so much respect. I've been nothing but around winners as the coaches that I've worked for. I've worked at great places: Dodge City Community College, Daytona Beach, after I spent 10 years as an assistant at Western Illinois. And so there are a lot of places that people never heard of, and they're not the ordinary places, but yet those helped form me and helped me understand the profession. And I was that guy that was at clinics, and I was talking to everybody who I could talk to about basketball, and trying to understand it, trying to learn how to recruit. I wore so many different hats at the junior college level, from dorm monitor to financial aid to you just got a great knowledge of what it takes. And I got a break. A 15-year relationship with Bob Huggins got me back to Kansas State, to my alma mater, and he's there 1 year and leaves and goes to West Virginia, and Frank Martin takes over, and Frank has 5 fantastic years and wins big, and we're eyelash from the Final Four, and I don't get the job when he leaves. And I went to South Carolina for a year, and we were awful. And what's crazy, Deon, I got the Stephen F. Austin job off a 12-win season. We won 12 games at South Carolina that first year, and but the opportunity came along, and I interviewed, and as I say, I tricked him in the interview and got the job, and just had 3 remarkable years at Stephen F. Austin, and that led to other opportunities, and here I am today. And but I was so prepared because of all the people that I'd been around, and all the successes that they had, and I just kind of picked and chose what it took, and what I liked, and what fit my personality. And here I sit today, and I'm truly blessed because I've been around a lot of great people.
Well, I can tell you this, and I think I speak for all of Illini Nation saying how fortunate we are that you are here.
Well, I
But
appreciate you saying that.
I know those years at the junior college level because I was there for 5 years as a coach and an AD, so I recognize how that can definitely mold you. That time in Macomb, Illinois, which a lot of people won't know, as you said, that name, but Western Illinois is a heck of an institution. Is that what really? Because I heard in a previous interview you said that Illinois was kind of that dream job for you. Did that come from that time when you were in Western Illinois and being able to be close to a lot of that was going on at Illinois at the time?
Well, I'll go back a little bit. So in 1989, I'm the head coach at Dodge City Community College, and I'm a really young coach, and I don't know up from down. I thought I had all the answers, and I had none. And but as a kid, I learned basketball. I learned to compete at a camp called Heart of America Sports Camps in Salina, Kansas. It was a huge camp, 500-600 kids every summer, really the best players in the Midwest. And one of the coaches there was a gentleman named Dick Nagy. And Coach Nagy was the head coach at Barton County Community College. Mm-hmm. And so Coach was always working at that camp. He would run stations. Back then we had stations on the blacktop asphalt tennis courts, and he was always the coach that had the charge station, and you'd run down and you'd have to slide and take a charge. And if he called a block, you had to do fingertip push-ups. Well, the reality was if you were a pretty decent player, he always called a block. Yeah. So you were doing push-ups and your fingertips would almost be, blistered because of the hot pavement. But that's how I got to know Coach Nagy. And then in '89, the Flying Illini go to the Final Four, and I'm out there, and there's a group of us, all Heart of America guys, and we all get together. It may have been a Wednesday night or Thursday night, and we all go to dinner with Coach Nagy, and we're sitting out there and here I am, a young, impressionable, young coach trying to figure it out, and here's a guy I knew from camp, and now he's in the Final Four, so that's when it first hit with me. And then I go to Western in '93, and of course now you're starting to see Lon Kruger, who's a Kansas State guy. You're starting to see Bill. We're dreading at Western. We're dreading playing on the same night the Fighting Illini play because we have no fans at the games, mm-hmm. and the state was loaded with players, and we were so close to Peoria. And, Lon's going over there getting those Peoria Manual guys, and then we actually scheduled a couple times and came over here, and it was the arena was packed, and you're just like, man, this place is awesome. And lo and behold, when the opportunity came along, it's one of those places you say you can win a national championship here, and they've got everything that you need to win, and man, it'd be great to be the coach there. And all of a sudden, you get that phone call and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to live out a dream, and so it was that feeling for me because of all the impressions that I'd had really for 30 years prior to that, but or 25. And so, man, it was all those great feelings and great memories.
Well, of course, Coach Nagy was my position coach at Illinois. So, like I know. How old were you when you were at this camp, Coach?
Oh, man, I started going to that camp when I was 10. We weren't supposed to go till we were 12, but they let me in. And so I'm guessing I'm in my middle teens, 14, 15, 16, when he's there at that time. And I graduated in '86 from Kansas State. And but oh man, he was
Oh, that's all I was
Oh,
going to
what
ask
a
you.
great.
So you were old enough to get the F-bombs dropped.
Oh yeah, we back then in it was the camp was America's most enthusiastic and energized camp, and it was. And I mean, you had just somebody took a charge, everybody was up. You had it was crazy, but it was coaches like Coach Nagy, and I mean they were intense and in your face, and they were doing it 12 hours a day, and then they just push repeat and do it the next day, and it was awesome.
It's so funny you bring up the charge drill. That was one of our drills at Illinois. You know he pulled that in there.
I feel bad for you. I'm sorry.
It was so bad. I mean, coaches are, hey, well, Deon, you be careful taking those charges. And coach, by the time I turn around to Coach Nagy, he'd be like, I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey, I only had to do it for a couple weeks of summer. You had to do it all year.
4 years, man. 4 years of taking charges.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh, it was amazing. But Craig, I'll tell you this, Coach. And I've said it before. I remember the first game I did with you when you said, Deon, I got a question for you. And he was like, and after the game, he was like, I'm going to ask you after the game. LaRon Blythe had gone out. I think LaRon had 30, 35. And your question to me was if I would have wanted to play for you. I couldn't answer that question soon enough. So what developed your style of play, I guess? I mean, I'm sure it's probably the time you spent with the coaches. As you mentioned, you learned a lot from those guys. But as you know, we all have to put our own spices in the mix to make it taste the way we want to taste it. So what gave you the idea to kind of play the positions that you have, the way you have?
Yeah, I've always thought of the game as like what I didn't like as a player. And I said, what made me uncomfortable? And there was a lot, but what was challenging? What was, and then I kept going. I kept saying, well, if I can do something and take it away that the other coach practices every day, maybe they're not going to be very good at it. Maybe I have a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been around coaches who maximized effort. Effort has always been the one thing that has been ingrained in me since I started playing. That's the one thing you can actually control is how hard somebody plays. And if they're not playing and you're accepting of somebody not playing hard, then that's on you. Well, the pace of play, the under 7 seconds, to me, that's just effort. That's just running the floor really hard and getting guys to do that. Offensive rebounding, that's effort.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not accepting the first block out and making an effort to go get it a second time, and demanding that they do it for 40 minutes. Well, over the course of 40 minutes, you wear people out, and that's effort. That's all I can really control in a game. We can diagram all the fancy plays we want and do that, and then. On the defensive side, it was always, well, let me take away what you practice every day. And to me, that just made sense. And I've never been afraid of change. And I've never been, I think one of the great things that my time with Bob Huggins was, don't let being stubborn affect winning. And if you need to play zone, play zone. And if you need to, if somebody can't shoot, don't guard them. You got to figure out how to play to win. And so I've changed over the years. I've actually changed quite a bit, and I'm okay with that. But the one thing I've done is always demanded effort, and I want our program. I've been a process-based coach. I've never coached to win a game, if that makes sense. I want our process to be so good that more often than not, the scoreboard takes care of itself after those 40 minutes. Not worry about that game, because as we know, it's an imperfect game. And some nights, no matter what you do, that damn ball just won't go in the basket.
Okay, exactly.
And so, but you got to find a way. And I go back, Deon, to my second year at Stephen F. Austin. We play Utah in the NCAA tournament, and we're one of the top offensive teams in the country. I mean, we're an elite shooting team. We'd shot 52% from the field, which was one of the best. We were one of the best assist teams. Yet we were really, really good defensively. And so we go into that game, and I have one of the country's best three-point shooters. He goes 0 for 9 in that game. And we were averaging 82 points a game. And with 42 seconds to go, we get a young man, gets a wide open three to take a lead. And it goes in and out. And I felt so good after we got beat. We lost that game. But I knew then our process was right because we shot 30%. And the score was 52-50 when we had that chance to make a three.
Oh, wow.
And we missed. And they had 3 pros on that team. And yet our defense was good enough that it kept us in it when the ball didn't go in. So I felt great about our process. That was, if there was a defining moment where I said, okay, our process is solid. It's great. But I've never coached to win. If that's I hate losing. No one hates losing more than me. But to go win a singular game, no. I want our process to be good enough so that we can win a lot, but I don't have to worry about that. We can make the adjustments, but I want to be there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a program that you can do that if that makes sense. It's kind of a.
No, actually, it makes a lot of sense. When I was in high school, Bob Hambrick, I don't know if you had an opportunity to meet my coach during his time. Bob Hambrick always said that we do things the Simeon way.
Yeah.
Which was always about the process from when you came in as a freshman to learning from the upperclassmen to developing how we played on the play. It was always the same way. And so I remember him talking to a coach one time, and they asked him, they were like, well, yeah, how'd you prepare for the team? He was like, I didn't prepare for that team. He's like, because I prepared my team.
Yeah.
And it was all in the process of how you do it. This is how you do it every single day.
That's right.
This is how you practice. This is how you play. A lot, like you said, with effort. All of those things came together. So it's great to hear that, of course, it's your process, but that is being done, as I call it, the Simeon way. It's about the process and doing it right. So that's actually great. And I think you will agree with me on this, Coach. That doesn't just that's not just basketball. That's kind of a life lesson.
No question. No doubt. And I think that, I think things have become more difficult. And I say this in the last few years, because the social media influence and there's so much, kids have the ability to get so much information thrown at them, good and bad. And, I always say, when social media first came out, we used to monitor, every day, who's saying this or saying that, but we never monitored what they were reading and what was getting thrown back at them. And so you've got to be really dialed in terms of your locker room. You've got to be, to me, the locker room's the most important thing, the accountability and responsibility of your locker room and being able to shut off. And that's hard. Shut off all the outside stuff. And we're talking about that a lot now. I mean, we're ranked somewhere in the top 10. And there's a lot of chatter. And we live in a time where everybody wants to knock the guy off the mountain. Nobody's rooting for him to stay up there. Everybody's trying to knock him off. And they do that in a variety of ways. And we've got to be cohesive as a group, and our process has to be that much better and that much tighter, and our culture has to be all about the singular thing. You're never going to hear me talk about our ranking. You're never going to hear us talk about where we're picked, or you're never going to hear us talk about individual guys. Yeah, it's great. I was a first team All-American. Great. he deserves it. But that's not what we're about. And so it's more difficult than it's been, maybe back when I played, and from that standpoint. But all the outside stuff is something that you definitely have to be alert to.
Right, I would agree with you, Coach. You say when you played, I would say when we played, because there was none of this social media jazz when I was playing either. Thank God it wasn't, because that could definitely be a headache. But you tapped on something again that I had always taken in my career from Bob Hambrick, because Coach used to always say for us it was a newspaper. He would always say, "Don't read the newspaper."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Why, Coach?" He was like, "Because two things are going to happen." He's like, one, they'll say a whole bunch of good things about you and you'll believe them and you won't work as hard. He's like, or they'll say a bunch of bad things about you and you'll believe it and you won't work hard. He says, so neither one of them fucking works. So don't read the newspaper. Yeah. And I guess now you're being bombarded with social media. It's kind of the same lesson.
Yeah, and you see it. It becomes visible with players. You can tell when things things are bothering them. Things, it used to be, it was really hard to tell with guys. You literally had to pull them in and ask, "Hey, what's going on?" Now kids are so dialed into the moment that you can tell. And again, that's one of the great challenges of trying to establish your culture is, hey, we're here for you, but when we step across that line, your teammates need you for that 2.5 to 3 hours or however long we practice, and you have to be your best. And it's and those are things in life, that transcend the basketball floor. They go to the real life stuff. So, but yeah, we talk about that stuff a lot. And again, that's all trying to establish, your culture. And again, I have a saying, it's character over characters. And I want character in our program. I don't want characters. And character will always win out over talent, always. And so we're diligent in our recruiting with that, but again, we talk about it all the time, and how we handle ourselves in that locker room is the most important thing we do.
Speaking of the locker room, coaches, and I'm not going to ask you, because I know you don't like to single out players as individuals. How does the team look this year? And I know we had some guys sitting out. How do they fit in to what Brad Underwood is looking for and expecting from this year's team?
Yeah, and I think the one thing that we feel great about is that for the first time we're old. Yeah, and traditionally, I mean, the Big Ten is an old league. The Big Ten gets guys, and I don't want to say we don't have one and dones. We do, but this league gets old. It's got great coaches who have great personality, who have great teaching abilities, and the league gets old. And what happens when the league's old? They punish you. You make a mistake, they capitalize on it. And so we're old. And I say this all the time, juniors and seniors, it's the only time in their life, for the rest of their life, that they're going to play at their maximum ability against their peers. When they go on to the next level, everybody's older or younger, and now they get to maximize it as upperclassmen. We have that. And, Io's better than ever, and he's more confident. And Trent Frazier, DeMonte, and they're veterans. They've been through all those battles and in all those venues, so they can help teach the young guys. The young guys are good. They're good. They're talented, and they're great listeners. They're developing probably quicker than I had thought, and yet there's still a long way to go for freshmen, and because they haven't played in the game, and they're still trying to figure out the grind of every day. But I like them a lot. Austin Hutch has been out. He's been fighting some back stuff. He's a very talented young man. So his practices have been inconsistent because he's still fighting a little back. Jacob Grandison has been phenomenal. Jake's been a great addition. He's kind of a combo forward. that we can kind of play everywhere. He's really enhanced his ability to shoot the basketball from deep. That's been much needed for us, as everybody knows. We haven't been a great shooting team. He's a guy that can really shoot it. So I think you start. Jermaine Hamlin's been out. He's just getting back to practice. Jermaine has actually fell while he was home with COVID and broke his hand. So he's just kind of playing his way back into practice now. Benjamin Verdonk has re-aggravated a foot problem. So we probably will not see him until December. But I like this team. They've got, we're an elite passing team, which is something we have not been. You add Curbelo, you add Adam, and you add Coleman Hawkins. Those three freshmen can all really pass the ball in their high IQ. And then, the best thing about Kofi is he's no longer a freshman; he's a sophomore, and he's been very good. So I'm excited. We've got a long way to go on the defensive side yet. Our defensive chemistry is not great, but I think we've got extremely competitive players and guys who are it's a challenge every day to get on the court and put five guys out there that you're gonna have to earn your right to play, and that's been fun to see. But our veterans have done a great job of leading our new guys, Deon, and that's important.
Well, that's definitely the best problem to have, and this might be, just looking at the teams the way I have over the years, the most length and athleticism that we've had as an Illinois team in a long time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like is I think we can play. We're versatile.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can put a lineup out there. We could legitimately slide Coleman Hawkins to the three because of his ball handling and he can defend it. We can slide him to the small forward spot at 6'10" and play him, Georgie, and Kofi together. So we could get very big, and yet we could put Trent, Curbelo, Io, and DeMonte out there and play four round one, or Jacob or Austin, so we've got some versatility that I like. I think our pace with which we can play will be a little faster than what it was last year. We were still in the 97th percentile in terms of points in transition. Iowa was actually third in the country in points in transition. But I think because of our depth, maybe we can play a little quicker. But our versatility is going to be our biggest attribute.
Okay. I'll tell you this, Coach. If you're going to play faster, I don't know what Brian Barnhart's going to do, man. Brian is skilled at keeping up with the flow of the action, man. I mean, because last year he dazzled me a few times while sitting over there. Now you're saying you're going to take it up a step further?
Yeah, I tell you what, we averaged about 68 possessions a game last year, and of course, as you get towards the end of the season, everything gets a little more conservative and slows down as you head into postseason play. But I'd like to be up in the 75 possessions a game, and obviously stay efficient, not turn it over. Deon, one of the great things we were doing at the end of the year, we just didn't turn the ball over. And, that was one of the big problems we had early in the season, was we were a high turnover team. And we got that rectified. And that's one of the things that, we'll watch for early this season. You're always a little sloppy early, but, we just if we have the ability to play quicker, that and have guys run and get easy baskets, we'll sure take them any chance we get.
All right, Coach. Well, this is the inaugural show, and none better than to have you out here with us. If you had to give one message to Illini Nation about this upcoming season, this is your floor. Go ahead and knock them out.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say I hope and pray that we're back in State Farm Center where you can come see this team play. But I'm really proud. I'm really proud of my staff. We've had great leadership. I'd be foolish if I didn't commend Josh on his job leading us through COVID. And secondly, being patient enough to allow us to get our guys and to build our culture. And but I'm really proud of the fact, I don't give really two rips about the preseason ranking, but yet I'm really proud to see a program that you played in and helped build. And obviously your name's all over the record book. But, I've said it many times, we're the 11th ranked program in the history of college basketball. And that's special. And now we finally got our program back to that level. And the addition of and remodeling of Oven starts in April. All those things are heading in such a positive in a positive way. We feel great about the young people we have in our program as people, as human beings, and so I think we're in great shape. We're gonna do everything we can to not just whip our opponents, but keep whipping COVID, and hopefully we've got a great season, and hopefully it's a season that ends sometime late in March or early April, because I do think we've got a team that is excited about the possibilities in front of them.
Well, I agree with you 100%, Coach. And again, I want to thank you for taking this opportunity. I know it's been a busy day for you, so you can go back. I ain't gonna say relax a little bit because I know you're not gonna relax, but make sure you get that glass of wine tonight.
I will have the glass of wine, and 5:30 a.m. when it comes for my COVID test, I'll be there, ready.
There you go, Coach. I appreciate you again. Thank you for joining me, Deon Thomas, your man in the middle, on Champaign on Ice. Coach, go Illini.
ILL. Thanks, Deon.